demanded. So, arc elasticity method measures the elasticity between two separate points on the demand curve. So, yung formula natin is this. So, elasticity is demand is equal to percentage change. Yung triangle's speed as is to be changed. Okay, nire-represent niya yung change. Percentage change in QD over percentage change in P, or Q sub 2 minus Q sub 1 over Q sub 2 plus Q sub 1 all over P sub 2 minus P sub 1 divided by P sub 2 plus P sub 1. So, tandaan ng mabuti itong formula na to kasi ito yung gagamitin natin. And pagdating sa income tsaka cross price elasticity, ganito rin yung itsura niya. Iba nga lang yung naandoon sa baba. Okay? So, sabi nga dito, ito, percentage change in quantity demanded and percentage change in price of the commodity. Okay, so ito yung representation ng arc elasticity method. So, if you can see, we have here 2 points for the price. Diba sabi natin yung sa y-axis is our price. So, we have 8 and 5. And then, sa x-axis natin, sa Q, meron tayong 5 and 10. So, let's assume na yung A, ito yung first na natin, combination of points. So, we have 5 and 10. So, ito yung magiging Q sub 1 tsaka P sub 1. And then, we have here second, yung B natin, we have 8 and 5. So, yung Q sub 2 natin is 5 and P sub 2 natin is 8. So, we can write na parang ganito. Okay. So, okay, or ganito na lang. Ganyan muna so that you can see. So, isulat natin yung given. So, we have, syempre, given muna yung point A natin, di ba? Is 5 and 10. So, yung Q sub 1 natin, is equal to 10. And then, Q sub 2 is 5. Ito, galing siya dun sa point B, yung 5. Yung 10, galing siya sa A. Okay, and then we have P1 equals, so yung A natin, meron siyang price equal to 5. And then yung P2 natin, so yung price ni B is 8. Okay, so Q1 is 10, Q2 is 5, and then P1 is 5, P2 is 8. So, ano yung formula natin? So, etong income elasticity naman, guys, or nasa income na ako, sa, sa own price elasticity. Okay. So, own price elasticity tayo. Oops. Wait lang. Okay, so own price elasticity. Okay, so sabi natin kanina, the formula is Q sub 2 minus Q sub 1 over Q sub 2 plus Q sub 1 all over P sub 2 minus P sub 1 over P sub 2 plus P sub 1. Huwag kakalimutan to, guys. So, sa taas is minus plus, tapos sa baba, minus plus. Okay? Then, we will just input our values. So, ang challenge lang dito, later on, is yung pag-identify mo, ano ba yung P1, ano yung Q1, ano yung second na given. Okay? So, ano yung Q2 natin? 5. So, we have here 5 minus Q1, 10 over 5 plus 10 all over P2 is 8 minus 5 over 8 plus 5. Okay, so 5 minus 10 is negative 5 over 5 plus 10 is 15. And then 8 minus 5 is 3 over 8 plus 5, 13. Okay, so I assume you already know how to compute this kind of given sa calculators nyo. Okay, so unahin muna ito bago ito. Okay, so negative 5 over 15 all over 3 divided by 13 will give us negative 1.44. So I hope you also got the same answer, negative 1.44. If not, mali yung paglagay nyo doon sa calculator. So you need to compute again. Okay, so we have now negative 1.44. So how will we interpret this value? Okay, so sabi natin we need to get the absolute value of the computed value. So the absolute value of negative 1.44 is positive 1.44. It is greater than 1, therefore this is elastic. Okay? And then how will we interpret it? Okay? So ito, arc elasticity na siya. So given 2 points. So alam na natin kung nag-increase si price or nag-decrease si price. So ang dito, ang interpretation dito is a 1%. Okay, so we are determining the percentage change in yung quantity natin given the percentage change in price. So a 1% increase in price causes or results to a 1.44% decrease in the quantity demanded. Okay. So, saan galing yung 1%? So, sabi ko na nung nakaraan, so it is constant, it is used in interpreting values. So, hindi na siya mababago. Saan galing yung increase? Paano natin nalaman na merong increase in price? So, take a look at the given. So, yung P1 mo kasi is 5. Okay. Yung P1 mo is 5. And then, yung P2 mo is 8. So, from 5, naging 8 siya. Ibig sabihin, nag-increase. Diba? From 5, naging 8. So, nag-increase. And then, so 1% increase in price causes a 1.44. So, saan galing yung 1.44? Dito siya. Sa na-compute natin. But, take note na hindi nyo na ilalagay yung negative doon sa interpretation. Kasi it is already reflected in this increase-decrease. Okay? So, walang makikitang negative sa interpretation. So, 1.44% decrease in the quantity demanded. Paano natin nalaman na decrease? Balik ka ulit sa given. So, we have here Q1 equals 10 and then Q2 equals 5. So, from 10, naging 5 siya. Decrease in the quantity demanded. So, take note of that. In interpreting the values of elasticity using the arc elasticity method, you need to look at the given if there is an increase or decrease in price or increase or decrease in the quantity demanded. Okay, so that's an example of arc elasticity method. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so tama. So, yung ano natin dito is negative 1.44. So, a 1% increase in price will result to a 1.44 decrease in quantity demanded. Okay, so before we go to income elasticity, let's take another example. Okay, sa own price. Okay, so for example, yung given naman natin is P1 equals 10 and then P2 equals 5, Q1 equals 2, Q2 equals 3. Okay? So, meron na tayong P1, P2, Q1, Q2. Now, we can solve for the elasticity. So, sabi natin kanina, Q2. So, we have here 3 minus Q1, 2. Then, Q2 plus Q1 all over P2 minus P1 over P2 plus P1. Okay, so we have here 1 over 5 all over negative 5 over 15. So, sige, try nyo ngang isolve kung ano yung makukuha nyong sagot. So, when you input it in calculator, you should have an answer of negative 0.6. Okay, so yun ba yung nakuha nyong answer? Negative 0.6. So, the absolute value of negative 0.6 is 0.6. And 0.6 is less than 1. Therefore, it is inelastic. Now, how will we interpret yung value ng 0.6? Okay, so, tingnan natin anong nangyari sa price natin. So, yung price natin, bumaba siya. So, from 10 to 5. Tapos, yung Q1 natin, tumaas siya. Okay, so, we can interpret it as a 1%. So, increase or decrease. So, a 1% decrease in price. Bakit decrease? Kasi based sa given, from 10, naging 5 siya. Okay, so from 10, naging 5. A 1%, wait lang. Hindi pala siya na-edit. So, let's make another box here. Susulat ko na lang siya ulit. So, a 1% decrease in price causes a 0.6% decrease or increase. So, from 2 naging 3, therefore, there is an increase in quantity demanded. Okay? So, a 1% decrease in price causes a 0.6% increase in quantity demanded. Okay? So, yung interpretation nyo, dapat mag-match siya doon sa given. Okay? So, ganun kapag nagko-compute tayo ng arc elasticity of demand. So, kung kabisado nyo na to, sisiyo na lang yung susunod kasi same lang yung process. Iba nga lang yung kino-consider nating factors. And, syempre, iba yung interpretation natin later on. Okay? Basta tandaan lang, Q sub 2 minus Q sub 1 over Q sub 2 plus Q sub 1 all over P sub 2 minus P sub 1 over P sub 2 plus P sub 1. Okay, so based sa experience ko, yung sa exams, okay sila during, yung students ko previously, okay sila during discussion. Pero pagdating sa exam, nakakalimutan na nila tong sign. Okay? So, hindi siya open formula kasi onti lang naman yung sa ulo yung formula. So, you need to familiarize yourselves dito sa formula natin. Okay? Minus plus, minus plus. Yung iba, nalilito, ang ginagawa nila, P yung nasa taas, tapos Q yung nasa baba. Take note, yung quantity demanded natin or yung demand natin, yung laging nasa taas. Okay? So, mali ito. Kasi, tinitingnan natin kaano ba kalaki yung change sa demand natin given the different changes or given the changes in different factors. Okay? So, bear that in mind. Yung quantity, yung kinukuhanan natin ng change. So, lagi siyang nasa taas. Okay? So, let's move to the income elasticity of demand. So, yung income elasticity of demand measures the degree of responsiveness of demand. So, makikita nyo, responsiveness of demand ulit. To the changes naman in the level of income of consumers. So, dito na sa income elasticity, hindi na natin i-consider yung price. We are now considering the income of the consumers. Okay? So, I na yung given dito. Again, we can compute for the income elasticity of demand using the point elasticity and arc elasticity. So, we have here the point elasticity. So, income elasticity, so yung ano niya is N na merong sobra. Okay? Na maarting N. Okay? So, partial derivative of Q in terms of I naman to. Take note, income elasticity, partial derivative of Q in terms of I. So, dun sa own price in terms of PX. So, in this case, in terms of I, so multiplied by I over Q. O, diba? Same lang. Same lang yung formula. Ang naiba lang, yung P. So, hindi na siya P, naging I na siya. Okay? So, we have here an example. Okay? So, QD daw, okay. So, meron akong dalawang example. Una to. So, QD equals 5 minus 2px plus 0.03i minus 0.4 pc plus 2ps. Okay? So, sabi natin, kuhanin muna natin yung partial derivative of q in terms of I bago natin ma-multiply sa I over q. So, ang given natin dito, I equals 100 and then q equals 1. So, first step, so same lang guys, inuulit lang natin yung ginawa natin nung nakaraan. Pero in this case kasi, okay, let me just write yung given natin. Okay, so, yung given natin is QX. Wait lang. Bakit nagkaganon siya? Wait lang guys, hindi ako makasulat. Okay, QX equals 5 minus 2px plus 0.031i minus 0.4 pc plus 2ps. Okay, so we are now talking about income elasticity of demand. And here we are solving for the elasticity using the point elasticity method. So we first need to compute or to know the partial derivative of Q in terms of I. And based on our equation, we only have one na I yung variable. So, we will just focus on this one. Therefore, yung partial derivative natin of q in terms of I is 0.03. So, wag kakalimutan yung pagkuha ng derivative. So, cxn. So, ang mangyayari lang, yung derivative nito magiging n times c, then x, n minus 1. Okay? So, 0.03. Now, we already know the partial derivative of q in terms of I. So, we can now multiply it by I over q. So, elasticity is equal now to 0.03 multiplied by 100, which is the given, over 1. Okay, so 0.03 times 100 over 1 is 3. Okay, so 3 is greater than 1, therefore it is elastic. So how will we interpret this? Okay, so a 1% change, since point siya, we don't know if the income increase or it decrease. So a 1% change in a 1% change in income causes a 3% change in the demand. Okay, so actually nakalagay ata dito sa handout nyo is quantity demanded, pero let's correct it. It should be change in demand. Kasi we already discussed during our first meeting first part nung discussion natin na only the price causes the change in quantity demanded and other factors cause a change in the demand. Okay, so a 1% change in income causes a 3% change in the demand. So yung 1% constant siya, yung 3% galing siya dito sa na-compute nating value. Okay, so tingnan natin kung tama ba yung ginawa natin. So, tama. Yung dito, partial derivative of q in terms of I is 0.03. Then, we multiplied it to 100 over 1. So, we got 3. So, a 1% increase or decrease in the consumer's income results in a 3% increase or decrease in the quantity demanded of good X. So, you can just use change para mas safe. Pero bakit kaya increase-decrease, increase-decrease, parehas? Okay? Kasi positive. Positive yung nakuha nating value. If you can remember, sabi natin noon, meron tayong normal and inferior good. Kapag positive, or ibig sabihin, kapag nag-increase yung income natin, mag-i-increase din yung demand natin for that good, it is a normal good. Diba? Na-discuss na natin yun previously. So, yung income versus the demand, pwedeng maging positive or negative yung relationship nila. Okay? So, in this case, positive yung nakuha natin value. Therefore, same yung change doon sa consumer's income natin saka demand. So, this should be demand. Wala yung quantity. Okay? So, another example, before we go to the arc elasticity, another example sa point elasticity. Okay, so for example, yung given naman natin is, wait lang. Okay, so for example, yung given natin, is Qx equals 45 minus 15px plus 25py plus 0.05i. Okay, so we are given this equation, and then yung I daw is equal to 500, and then Q equals 10. So again, the formula ng income elasticity is equal to partial derivative of Q in terms of I multiplied by I over Q. Okay. So first, we need to get the partial derivative of Q in terms of I. So if you can see here, iisa lang yung merong variable na I. Therefore, yung partial derivative of Q in terms of I natin is equal to 0.05. Okay? So, hindi ko na ulitin yung pagkuha ng derivative kasi I assume that you already know how to get the derivative since nakailang examples na tayo nung nakaraan, and we even applied it in the own price elasticity. Okay, so now we have here partial derivative. We can now get or compute for the income elasticity. So we have here 0.05 multiplied by, so ang I natin is 500 and ang Q natin is 10. So 0.05 multiplied by 500 over 10. So we have 2.5. Okay? Tama ba? Ganun din ba yung nakuha yung sagot? Okay, so 2.5 is greater than 1, therefore it is elastic. Okay, so again, how will we interpret this value? So a 1% change in the income causes a 2.5% change in the demand. Okay? So, saan galing yung 2.5? Yun yung na-compute natin. Okay, so yun yung income elasticity using the point elasticity method. Now, let's go to arc elasticity. So, ito yung formula. Percentage change in Q over percentage change in I. So, if you can see, parehas lang sila nung formula nung arc elasticity natin doon sa own price. Ang nag-change lang, eto, yung nasa baba. So, from P, ngayon, I na siya. Pero same pa rin. Minus plus, all over, minus plus. Okay? So, example. Okay, so we have here I1 equals 100, I2 equals 200, Q1 equals 50, and Q2 equals 75. So let's try to solve. Okay, so yung yung income ganito. Wait lang guys. Okay, so ang income elasticity natin is equal to Q2 minus Q1 over Q2 plus Q1 all over I2 minus I1 over I2 plus I1. Okay, so ang given natin, yung Q2 natin is 75, Q1 is 50. So here we have 75 minus 50 over 75 plus 50 all over. So yung I2 natin is 200, I1 is 100 over 200 plus 100. Okay? So we have here 75 minus 50, 25 over 75 plus 50, 125 all over 200 minus 100, 100 over 200 plus 100, 300. Okay, so try to compute it in your calculator and it will give you ilan? 0.6. 0.6. Okay, 0.6. Okay, so before we interpret, ipapakita ko na sa inyo kung paano ba yung interpretation natin. Okay, so in classifying the goods for the income elasticity, we have the guides here. So if the computed value is greater than 0, ibig sabihin positive siya. So the good is the good is normal. Okay? So normal good siya kapag positive. Okay? If the computed value is greater than 0 or if it is positive, then we can say that the good is normal. Yun yung first na interpretation, normal good. So if it is normal good, we then need to classify it if it is a necessity or it is a luxury. So if the value is greater than 0 but less than 1, so ibig sabihin yung mga 0.5, 0.05, 0.1, yung mga yun, then the good is normal and considered as necessity. But if the computed value is greater than 1, then the good is normal and is considered luxury. Okay, again, if the computed value is positive, then we can consider it as a normal good. So, if we know that it is a normal good, we need to classify if it is necessity or luxury. If the computed value is positive and greater than 0 but less than 1, it is a necessity. But if the computed value is a positive and greater than 1, it is luxury. So, dalawang interpretation na yun. Okay? But, tapos kapag yung computed value naman is less than 0, then we can consider the good as inferior. Okay? So, yung first interpretation sa income elasticity, we need to identify if it is elastic, inelastic, or unit elastic. Second, we need to identify it if it is normal or inferior good. And then if it is a normal good, we need to identify if it is a necessity or it is a luxury. Then we need to interpret pa siya na in terms of yung a 1% increase or decrease. Okay, so let's go back to our example. So yun yung interpretation natin. Okay, so we have here 0.6. Okay, so 0.6 is less than 1. Therefore, it is inelastic. Bakit siya nawawala? Inelastic. Okay, so less than 1. And then it is positive. Therefore, it is a normal good. So, 0.6 is greater than 0 but less than 1. Therefore, it is a necessity. Okay, so we have here inelastic, normal good kasi positive, and necessity kasi between 0 and 1 siya. And then yung last is yung interpretation natin. So, again, we have 2 points for I and 2 points for Q. So we already know if the I or Q increased or decreased. So again, a 1% increase kaya or decrease. So remember din dito sa interpretation natin, una nating binabanggit yung nasa baba. Always remember we are looking at the percentage change in Q given a percentage change in the different factors. So, laging nahuhuli sa interpretation yung Q natin. Either quantity demanded or demand. Okay, so a 1% increase or decrease. So, a 1% increase in the income. Bakit increase? Saan ko kinuha yung increase? So, look at the given. So, I1 is 100, I2 is 200. So, from 100 to 200, our income increased. So, 1% increase in the income causes a 0.6%. So, yung 0.6% came from the computed value. Increase or decrease. So, tignan ulit yung given. Yung Q1 natin is 50. Naging Q2 75. Therefore, nag-increase. So, it causes a 0.6% increase in the demand. Okay? So, apat na interpretation. Okay? So, we have inelastic, normal good, necessity, then a 1% increase in the income causes a 0.6% increase in the demand. Okay. So, tingnan natin kung tama yung sagot natin. Okay. So, 0.6. Okay. So, dito muna mag-e-end yung discussion ko. But, we'll take another example para meron pa kayong basis. Yung cross-price elasticity tsaka supply, di-discuss next week. Okay. So, for example, yung I naman natin, I1 is equal to 200. I2 equals 400. Q1 is 25. Q2 is 10. Okay? So, yung N natin, again, yung sa taas natin is Q. 10. Q2 minus Q1. So, 10 minus 25 over 10 plus 25 all over I2, which is 400, minus I1, which is 200 over 400 plus 200. So, minus plus minus plus. So, we have negative 15 over 35 all over 200 over 600. So, it will give us negative 1.29. Okay. So, the absolute value of negative 1.29 is 1.29, which is greater than 1. Therefore, it is elastic. Okay? So, eto kapag ini-interpret natin siya if it is elastic, inelastic, or unit elastic. Next, we need to identify if this is a normal or inferior good based on its sign. So, since it is negative, we can consider it as an inferior good. Okay? So, inferior good siya, no need to identify it if it is a necessity or luxury. So, we can now proceed to our last interpretation. So, tatlo lang kapag inferior good siya. So, a 1% increase ba or decrease? Anong nangyari sa income? So, from 200 naging 400 siya. So, a 1% increase in income causes a 1.29% increase or decrease? Decrease in the demand. Okay? So, makikita nyo nga, increase, decrease, magkaiba yung change nila kasi negative yung nakuha natin and inferior yung good natin. Okay? Okay, so wait na ko kasi may nag-text. So, saan tayo nag-stop? Hopefully na ko siya bago ko ma-post doon sa final answer doon. So, let's consider another example. So, for example, we are given a word problem. So, Mark has 600 pesos and used it to buy 24 pieces of hot dog to serve as his food for the first 2 weeks of March. And then on the third week, he has only 400 pesos. So he was able to buy only 15 hot dogs. So, what is the elasticity of demand for hot dog? Okay, so ito yung given. Ito yung problem. Mark has 600 pesos and used it to buy 24 pieces of hot dog to serve as his food for the first 2 weeks of March. On the third week, he has only 400 pesos, so he was able to buy only 15 hot dogs. So what is the elasticity of demand? So first, we need to identify ano yung first na income, and then ano yung second na income, and then ano yung first na quantity demand, or first demand and second demand. So, sulat natin. Okay, so yung I1 natin, ano yung I1 natin? Ano yung unang income niya? Or ano yung, magkano yung unang budget niya? So when we say income here, when we compute for the elasticity, hindi lang lagi na, yun nga, yung income siya na from salary. So it can also be budget or yung allowance. So 600, diba? Ito. And then I2, nung third week na, meron na lang daw siyang 400. So, nung 600 yung pera niya, yung quantity niya na nabili, or ilan yung hotdog na nabili niya, 24. And then, yung Q2, or yung hotdog na nabili niya, nung 400 na lang yung pera niya is, magkano na lang. Okay, so, or 15 na lang yung nabili niya. So, 600 yung I1 natin, I2 400, and then Q1 24, Q2 is 15. So, we can now solve for the income elasticity. So, income elasticity is equal to 15 Q2 minus 24 Q1, 15 plus 24 all over. So, 400 minus 600 over 400 plus 600. Okay, so 15 minus 24 is negative 9 over 15 plus 24, 39 all over 400 minus 600, negative 200 over 400 plus 600, 1,000. Okay, and it will give us 1.50. So since it is positive, it is a normal good. And then it is greater than 1, therefore it is elastic. And so greater than 1, normal good, luxury. And we can interpret the value as a 1%. Okay, a 1% increase or decrease in income. So, we have here 600 naging 400. So, a 1% decrease in income causes a 1.15%. From 24 naging 15, decrease also. Decrease in the demand for hotdog. Okay? So, yun. So, I hope you get how to compute for the arc elasticity for own price, and then yung point and arc elasticity natin for income. Okay, so that's all for this topic. Thank you for